Does God really punish us? Whether a fundamental Christian or, in this case, a fundamental Hindu, as somebody who wrote to me about a Purana, a scripture that describes hell and the punishments for souls who behave wickedly. It's called the Garuda Purana, and it includes a description of hell with all the different wonderful punishments that different people who commit specific kinds of sins, what they get to go through. And so the person asks, oh my goodness, I've read this and now I can't love God. I can't trust God. My mind is disturbed by fear. We all make mistakes. Do we really have to get this badly tortured in hell? I really shouldn't laugh. I'm not denying hell as such, but let's just say it's a little more nuanced than that. There are people whose fear of punishment becomes for them, I guess, a motivation. I don't think that's true of most people I know, particularly in this day and age. We, I guess, have a higher expectation, a more positive expectation of life in general. After all, if you think back to former times and even people somewhere on this planet where life itself is a living hell, it's pretty easy to think in terms of punishment and so forth. So I assured this person that, first of all, God doesn't punish anybody. We punish ourselves by our behavior. And so that's cause and effect, that's the law of karma, is very, very important. As it says in the Bible, as you sow, so shall you reap. And it's important, especially in this day and age when our consciousness has changed significantly or is beginning to change significantly. We need to take responsibility. We've come from many thousands of years, or centuries at least, in which people were essentially mentally and physically serfs, and they were told to obey. And if they didn't obey, they would be punished. But we've come into an era where we demand freedom, demand to have certain rights, and that too is valid. And we want to create a culture and an environment where it is true, where we are not punished and we are not serfs condemned forever in involuntary servitude. And so when we shift our perspective to understanding that we create our own destiny, that's a different point of view. Now, I'll be the first to admit that through genocide and other such mass punishments on people at large who don't seem to have any personal responsibility for their punishment, that's a more difficult thing to deal with. But that's not the scope of this question. Let us just say, to quote Paramahansa Yogananda, that entire countries and groups of people can also have mass karma based on the actions of a group of people sometime in the past. That's a more difficult subject, I admit. However, as we turn within, as we develop a lifetime of daily prayer and contemplation, mindfulness and inner silence, we begin to tap into that part of ourselves that can guide us from intuition, from our conscience, which is the voice of God within us, the voice of our soul, the voice of devas and angels wanting to guide us to right action. As the guru of Paramahansa Yogananda is often quoted in saying, to the effect that the past lives of all people are dark with many shames. What we do now will create a better future if we walk the path of life consciously, with honor and dignity, with alignment to virtues and treating others as we seek to be treated, and as tuning in to the divine will, the divine living, loving presence within ourselves and in all people. It doesn't happen overnight, but this is the teaching for this age, is that by our self-effort and by attunement to the transforming power of divine love and grace, which love being grace, we can make a better life. We can find inner happiness, the inner strength to deal with the vicissitudes, the challenges of life, which is to say our past karma, with calmness, with faith, with hope. This is the true teaching given down through the ages, and that this person desperately needed to hear. So faith is the most practical path, the most universal spiritual path of them all. But it takes effort. It takes also receptivity. It's a both-and world in which we live. It's a world in which we have to take responsibility, and yet at the same time it is a bigger world than just our life, and a bigger world that we need to tune into, find a combination of acceptance and yet willpower to change what we can change in this world. All right.